do at least, if God wills it, at least a message once a week, preferably on Shabbat. We'll see if God allows it, what He says to do. But I'm definitely going to be a lot more distant from social media, just so that I can have more time with God and prepare for what He has to come in the future. And now is a time that we all should definitely do that and prepare as well. And He should be drawing us more and more from social media and closer to Him. I believe, what God has told me is it's very important to spend time with Him during these times. But I'm going to go ahead and get started here. God told me last night, He said, go to 1 Samuel. And how many times have I read this and some things were just revealed to me even deeper? He said that this has to do with what's going on today. Now, and at first I was like, what does 1 Samuel have to do with what's going on today? Then he showed me. He said to go to 1 Samuel 5 and 6. He showed me some other chapters as well. Now, check this out. I'm going to jump right in here, guys. I'm going to go into some other things as well, but this is very important. I'm going to go ahead and turn off these comments just so nobody gets distracted, and I'll turn it on later. But look at here. He said right here, now, the Philistines came, and they came into Israel, right? And they took the Ark of the Covenant. Now, what does the Ark of the Covenant represent? The Ark of the Covenant always represented the commandments, the laws of God inside. Now, think of this is your spiritual temple, that you house God's commandments, right? And His Spirit set on top between the cherubim, between the angel's wings, right in the center. Now, the importance of this is that's to symbolize God's Holy Spirit and His laws being put inside you. That's what His Holy Spirit is. It's all one, right? So, they came because of the sins of Eli's sons. They were unjustly, receiving gain, and they weren't listening to the discipline of Eli. And in fact, Eli did not discipline them, and they did whatever they wanted to do. In fact, they were mistreating people that were coming and giving their sacrifices to God, and they were taking the portions for themselves and not listening to the instructions of God of how to properly sacrifice those animals. In the same way, people go to church and the pastors are receiving unjust gain, right? And they're not properly, their actions and their obedience, their commitment to God and their submission is not totally, towards God out of reverence and obedience and love to Him. So what was happening, they were mistreating the people so that they could, for their own pleasure, their own desires, and their own gain. And in fact, the pastors were also having sex with some of the women, Eli's sons. So there's a whole lot more going on there. But look, as a result, look what happened. The ark was taken by the Philistines. And guess what happened? They took it back to their land. Now think of this. When I get deeper into this, guys, they brought it in and put it into their temple with Dagon, the temple of Dagon. And what is Dagon, you may ask? I'll get in that just a minute, but you want to stick around. Dagon as well was a god, and of course it was a fish. People see the same symbolism as a mermaid, and that's where mermaids derive from. Dagon was a mermaid. It was a Syrian god. It was actually derived all the way back from Nimrod's time. And that's why in the Christianity you see a fish. That's where it derived from, that symbol, the fish you see on the back of people's cars. It's the same thing. Why do you think a lot of churches have Starbucks coffee right now? Good. It's the same spirit, guys, and I'm about to reveal a whole lot more. They brought the Ark of the Covenant back and put it in their temple. So what started to happen? They mixed it. They wanted to coexist Dagon with God and say both need to get along and both need to submit to each other and they both need to dwell in the same temple together. Now look at here. What happened? So God struck a plague and He sent rats. Not only that, He sent tumors on the people's genitals. Oh boy, here we go. So they had a tumor. So what happened? They said right here, Send the ark of the God of Israel away. Let it go back to its own place so it won't kill us and our people. For a panic of death was throughout the entire city, as God's hand was very heavy there. The people who did not die were afflicted with tumors, so that the outcry of the city went up to heaven. Now what happened? Look at here. They gathered the priests and the diviners, the prophets, right? That they declared were they're false prophets, not prophets of God, but prophets of Satan. They said, tell us how we should send it back to its place. So what did they do? They went and they're a city full. There's 5 cities all around there. Ashkelon, there's a lot of cities all around there. Ashdod, and it was all around full of paganisms and idolatry. And why do you think these people went after idolatry? I'll get to that in just a minute. You say, this doesn't have to do anything with me today. Pay attention. You're going to see. Why do you think people went after Dagon? First of all, Dagon was a god. It was actually the dragon. Now, it came derived from the word dragon. Now, Revelation. Just pay attention. Now, look. People, and what do you think in Revelation 17:18? You're going to see. The dragon was infuriated. Those who keep the commandments of God and the faith in Yeshua Jesus, right? Now, pay attention. He says the reason people served these people, Baal basically Dagon was the father of Baal. That's what they said. Okay, and Asherah came from it. Isis. They're all gods that they worship in between those cities, those 5 cities. Now look at here. The reason they followed them was for family. They wanted their family to prosper. Health, wealth, fame, success, prosperity, social status, peace, protection, power, blessing. They wanted blessings of individuals, from the nations, and their resources. Now, why do you think people went after Baal? He was a god of weather and prosperity. So it means growing their crops so they get more money. They get more blessings. They get more food. They get more riches. They get more materialisms. They get to build bigger houses. They get to have more materialism storing their riches. Asherah for sex, love, and relationships. What do you think people are always chasing after? Isis, a god of magic, sorcery, wanting to know the future constantly. Why do you think in the movies you see the Eye of Horus all the time in these celebrities? And people say, well, I'm gaining something. No, you're gaining a sorcery. It's sorcery. And you think that you're actually getting a revelation from God. No, it's from demons. And you say, no. You see the Eye of Horus and you just keep watching it. I'm getting a revelation. You're getting it straight from the pits of hell. And what do you think is going on? I'm about to reveal more. Now, there was another god that was also from Dagon, that was also a fish god. Another one came from it, was the female fish god. It was a goddess, Nancy. The other one was Mitre. Mitre was a tongues of fire. Why do you think the Pentecostals say, want to get consumed with the speaking in tongues? What tongues? Here we go. Now you're about to see. Remember, Dagon, you derive from the word dragon. What do you think they came to do? They wanted to mix God. They brought the Ark of the Covenant. What happened? God made Dagon fall over. They came and set it back up. What happened the next time? Dagon fell over. This time the head was chopped off and the hands were gone. Cut off. In the temple. So they said, we got to get rid of it. So what did they do? They said, oh, let's put it on a cart. Let's get 2 cows that did not have a yoke on them and send them away. Now, whichever way they go, if they go up over towards where the Israelites are, then we know that was God afflicting us. But if they turn astray, then we know and go another route. We know that was just coincidence. So what happened? The cows kept going, not veering left or right. Now pay attention. Pay attention. If it goes up to Beth Shemesh, then we know it's him who inflicted great harm. But if not, then we know it was not his hand that struck us. It just happened by chance. So they put the golden mice as a sacrifice, right? And the tumors on it. The golden tumors. So the cows took it straight away to Beth Shemesh. They kept along the same highway. They were lowing, meaning they were mooing the whole way up. as they went and turned neither left or right. The lords of the Philistine followed them to the border of Beth Shemesh. Now the people of Beth Shemesh were reaping their wheat harvest in the valley. Now look at here. The churches are the Philistines today, uncircumcised. They're uncircumcised. What do you think David's called them uncircumcised giants? This uncircumcised Philistine. Why? Because they were uncircumcised, not physical. It was in their hearts. What do you think the churches are doing? Mixing the day. And also know this, that's why people are turning away from the truth. And they're turning aside to the gods and the nations because they're fearing what's about to come upon them if they keep following the true God. So in fact, they're going to Dagon and they're trying to find comfort in them to make sure they have protection. That's why they went after Baal and Dagon and these other gods, because they believed they would have protection from their enemies. What do you think is in Israel right now? It's whose God is more powerful? Muslims, Muhammad, Dagon? Christians are always trying to prove they have more fire than others, but they're dead. They're mixing with everybody. What do you think is going on right now? Everybody's mixing. They just took the Ark of the Covenant saying, we got it. And guess what? The affliction and the plagues are going to come upon them. But guess what people did, the Philistines? They seen these afflictions and they remembered. They remember what happened, the stories from Egypt and the plagues God casted upon them. He said, let's not harden our hearts. Why must we harden our hearts? Let's send it back. Let's free it. And guess what? Even though they seen these things happen, they heard the Old Testament, they heard the word, they believed it, they did not turn from their gods. What do you think people are doing in the churches today? They're not turning. Uncircumcised Philistines, uncircumcised in hearts, because they have not been circumcised or to be purified. They have not died to themselves. They have not been repentant. They think they get it. But then they stay for a little while, then they fall away. Why? Because they don't renew their minds daily. They're not sacrificing their lives daily. Guess what happened? The moment this cart came back, the people are reaping in their fields. What do you think will happen right now? God's going to come back and people are going to be reaping in the fields, and those that are not, think about it. I will leave that up to you to think about. Now, when the cart came back, they took those cattle, right? They sacrificed them. They took the wood from the cart and they burned it and they sacrificed those cattle, right? As a sacrifice to God, thanking him. And guess what happened? Look at here. 1 Samuel 3:4. Check this out. 1 Samuel 7:3-4. Now check this out. This is powerful, guys. This is powerful. Then Samuel spoke to the whole house of Israel, saying, if you're returning with all your heart to remove the foreign gods and Asheroth from among you, direct your hearts to Adonai and serve him only, then he'll deliver you from the hand of the Philistines. So Benai Israel removed the Baalim and the Asherah and served Adonai, God alone. Look at here. Now let's put this into a physical perspective right now. You must get away from your sin of sex, love, desiring relationships all the time. You're afraid to let go of those relationships because you want to still mix. Look at here. You got to let go of the power, the control, wanting prosperity. Let go of what your family thinks of you. Let go of your health. Let go of your wealth. Let go of your desire for fame and success and prosperity. Let go of your love of money and social status. Let go of these things. Let go of trying to bring peace and mixing God with a false church and a false way. You are not to coexist. We are to bow to one God and not fear any other man or woman. We are not to seek protection by confining ourselves in the false nations and the false gods and going with what everybody is doing, conforming to the image of the world and believing this is the way, conforming to the image of the church and saying this is God protecting us. You don't seek another God for protection except God alone. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of Israel. That is the God we serve. You don't fear another man. Look at here. You must let go of wanting to be blessed. You must let go of individual blessings and wanting to receive blessings just like the nations are receiving and trying to gain resources. Let go of these things and die to yourself. What is resources? Anything that brings you comfort, materialistic, money, job. Some of you are trying to control your life and you're not giving up to God. That's why you don't have peace. You know what the people shortly did after that? Even though they were so happy the ark came back. You know what they shortly said after Samuel? Give us a God that will judge us like the nations. Give us a leader, give us a judge that will judge us like the nations. Because we want to be like the nations. Sounds like the churches today. Sounds like many in the Messianic community, the Hebrew roots, and the Christian community all over the place. I'm not standing with one of them. I'm standing with God alone. I don't fear a single man, neither should you. Samuel said, you guys have done a grave injustice, a wrong thing. You have hated God. You turned against him, saying, we want to judge us according to the other nations. They envied the other nations. They feared the other nations. Why did they say, we want somebody in place of you that will take care of the other nations? They were afraid. What do you think is going on right now? People are afraid of what's going to come to them. So there's cowering down and they're retreating because they're afraid they can't lose their life. No wonder God said it in the last days, many will turn against you. Brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, friends. Because why? Why is he allowing that to happen? Because of lawlessness. Hearts growing cold. Distance from the law. They'll turn against one another and betray one another. Why do you think that is? Because they are afraid. They don't trust in God. And God is revealing it right now. I warned people long ago. People will come against me. They'll come against our ministry. Defile our names and lie. I even said it a couple weeks ago. And there's going to be a future. More things are going to happen. And it's going to be up to you to believe the lies or not. Discernment. But you're not going to see it if you aren't dead to yourself. Keep worshiping Dagon and these other gods. Why do you think I put Dagon in the song? God told me to. Look at here. He says, if you fear God, worship him and listen to his voice and do not rebel against the command of Adonai. Then both you as well as the king who reigns over you will be following Adonai your God. But you know what? They wanted a king. They wanted a king. That would protect them and let them do what they wanted to do and believe what they wanted to believe. They didn't want God's ways. They didn't want the covenant. They didn't want to return to the covenant. They wanted a new leader to lead them to the desires of their hearts, whatever tickles their ears. They were afraid, so what did they do? Submit? Give us a judge over us that will fight for us in these other nations, a strong leader? That was Saul. And he said that he would rule over them and actually oppress them. What do you think happened? What do you guys think is coming in the future? Because everybody wants a leader not after God's covenant, after God's heart. They want a leader that lets them do what they want to do and keep their idols and go to a church that lets them feel comfort in where they're at So when enemy starts to come, they're going to look to them. Help us, help us. Guess what? It's not going to happen. And because many people right now are going to grow afraid. They're going to grow, hearts are going to grow cold. They're going to go to other gods and hate the true people speaking the truth because they're afraid. They don't trust God. They don't have faith. So they're going to go to the false gods and mix with the world and surrender to them so that they feel comfort where they're at. Feel like they're protected. Well, the end for you is hell. Go ahead and take the beast, mark of the beast right now. What do you think Dagon was? Dragon. The Old Testament doesn't apply. Yeah, you throw it out, then nothing else applies. Throw out the whole Bible, throw it in the trash. Know what they were wanting to do? They're wanting to coexist, as I said. They couldn't give up their pride, their ambition, their wealth, their success, their relationships. Their relationships with the foreign gods. They couldn't give up the relationships with those that worship the foreign gods. That was their security, their comfort. They couldn't lose it. They couldn't give up their self-ambition or whatever achievements they're desiring, their goals and dreams and their aspirations. They couldn't give up their money. Afraid to lose their materialisms. If God told you to leave your house right now, do you think you would? Your condo, your apartment? I'm just exposing how many of you do not follow the true God. We cannot coexist. We cannot coexist. Now, wow. Okay. Now, in the same way, Samuel told Saul to wait 7 days, and I'm going to come to you. Guess what happened? In 1 Samuel 13, you guys are going to have to go back and read this. You can't just hear what I'm saying. It's not going to do nothing for you. Look, he says right here, I will come to you in 7 days, but wait. But guess what? He became worried. He became scared because the armies are rising up against you. Huge army. A huge army. 30,000 chariots, 6,000 horsemen, and troops as numerous as the sand of the seashore was coming against them. Instead, you know what he does? He takes it upon himself and sacrifices, saying, oh, I'm not going to wait for Samuel. I'm going to do it myself. He lacked trust. He lacked faith. So all of a sudden, Samuel came. He said, what is this that you have done? Because of this, your descendants will not live forever. God would have given you the descendants forever, the throne forever. In fact, he could have been the David. But guess what? God raised up a David to take his place. But even though David didn't even want it, he didn't want the money. God brought up a person after his own heart that didn't want anything else in life. Any of these things that the people worship, the foreign nations and the foreign gods. He said, I'm going to follow God. He was so respectful and submissive to his leader and authority. You feminists and some of you men out there, you cannot even submit to authority because you hate it. What do you think? What do you think is some of these people that worship other gods did? If you don't believe what I'm saying, go read Revelation 2 and 3. People say you tolerate that woman Jezebel. It leads people to sexual morality. Why do you think some people have seductive looks, seductive glances? They're leading men astray, leading people astray to follow another way. They're full of emotionism and they're not surrendered to God. Not only that, some people are given to sexual morality, idolatry. Some people claim to be rich, but in fact they're naked. They say, I don't need a thing, but you don't know how desperate you need a Savior. You say, oh, I'm good. I go to church. I read his word. I pray. I'm blessed. You're not blessed. Material riches have nothing to do with blessings. It's even evidence right here that the people were getting blessings. And if you read the prophets, you read the Torah, you're going to see that people went after other nations because they said, nothing, no afflictions or harm came upon us. And we received wealth when we were following after the foreign gods. But the moment we started following the true God, suddenly we were getting sick. Things are happening to us. Riches are getting taken. Things are getting looted. Our houses are getting broken into. You make a choice. Now look at here. In Matthew 6:24, he says you cannot serve two masters. You can't serve two. This is why I'm reading this. You're going to choose to fully submit to God, or you're going to try to coexist. Your life, your false gods, your false beliefs, your false worships. That's why God says respect your authority and those that rule over you, that look out for your soul. Why? Because they're looking out for your protection. It doesn't say every pastor. There's a lot of pastors out there trying to lead you to sexual immorality, lead you to idolatry, lead you to another way, rather than God's obedience to his commandments and his ways. Now look. I read this to some people, and they couldn't understand it. And God said, I'm going to reveal to you who's with me and who's not. I'm here to tell you that the road is very narrow. Just like in Daniel 4 and 5, what happened? Or Daniel 5. Nebuchadnezzar could not understand the writing on the wall. They could not understand the writing on the wall. They drank wine and praised the gods made of gold, silver, bronze, iron, wood, and stone. What do you think your houses, your riches, your money, your materialisms are all made of? Some of you are bowing down to Nebuchadnezzar's statue right now instead of being like the three men that did not. And you don't even know it. You don't even see the handwriting on the wall that you're being weighed and balanced and about to be judged. You don't even see the famine that's coming in your heart. You don't even see the famine in your mind. You don't even see the famine in your soul. You don't see that you're slipping away and you're changing. You don't see that your hands, your actions used to be in love with God, submissive and obedience, and you're fading. You're fading like that flower that sprouted up was beautiful, and now you're fading. What's happening? Who bewitched you? Who came into your life? Who led you to a lie? The magicians, the astrologers, and the Chaldeans and the diviners could not understand the writings on the wall. What do you think this means? They couldn't understand the dream. They couldn't understand the riddle. They couldn't solve the problem. They couldn't interpret. They couldn't understand it. They couldn't see the writing on the wall. Who is understanding the writing on the wall? Who is seeing it right now? Saying that we need to repent. You are exalting yourself against the Lord of heaven. Why do you think he says don't fight against one another? Don't lie to one another. Be submissive and humble to one another. Care for one another. Pray for one another. You're exalting yourself. What do you think is going on? People are exalting themselves instead of humbling. You exalt yourself against the Lord of heaven. You have vessels of his house brought before you. Your nobles, your consorts. Look at the vessels. Your consorts and your concubines, those that gather around you. You gathering people around you have been drinking wine in them. You have praised the gods made of silver and gold and bronze and iron and wood and stone, which cannot see or hear or understand. Yet you did not honor God, who holds in his hands your very breath and all your ways. He's numbering your days. He's weighing you. And the balance is found wanting. Your kingdom has been divided. Guys, your kingdom is being divided. You're being divided from God, the wheat from the tares. Why do you think when the Ark of the Covenant came back, they were sitting there harvesting in the field? In the moment he came back, he's like, they rejoiced. The presence of God returned. Look at here. I read this to people right here. They did not see it. People, I'm like, God, surely these people get it. Surely they do. He says, read it to them. And they just stare. Like, they don't get it. God, what is happening? Look at this. Wow, man, look. Daniel 11. When he returns, he will favor those who forsake the holy covenant. Did you hear that? He will show favor to those who forsake the holy covenant. His forces will rise up and profane the fortified temple. Look at that. Look, with smooth words, he'll seduce those who act wickedly against the covenant. Guys, the covenant is not just God, it's those that belong to the covenant. It's your brothers and sisters. The covenant, those are going to be in the kingdom. They're going to be in the temple of God. That's the temple of God dwelling in many of us. But some people are turning away from it. They're going to they're wanting in foreign nations. Some people are seeking protection. Instead of enduring the path that God set out for them, they're afraid of what's going to come against them. So saying, I'm retreating. And I'm afraid I'm going to just bow down and play it cool, play it safe. I don't want things to be shaken. I don't want things to be removed. I don't want the nations that hate God, everything that's going on in the news right now, to come against me. I'm here to tell you, if you're afraid of that, you aren't going to make it. You're being weighed and balanced, and you're being separated. The beast is already winning. The Antichrist is winning in your life. Look at here. With smooth words, he would seduce. Paul says he would speak to those, smooth words and flattery, those that not know the truth, right? In 2 Thessalonians 2. But in fact, delighted in a lie, believed a lie. But those who know their God will stand strong and prevail. Those who are wise among the people will instruct many. Those for many days they will fall by the sword, be burned, captured, or pillaged. When they stumble, they'll receive little help. Watch. But many will join them deceitfully. Who's seeing this? Even some of the wise will stumble, so that they may be refined, purified, and made spotless until the time of the end, for it will still come at an appointed time. Look at that. So the king will do as he pleases, exalting him and magnifying himself above every god. He will speak outrageous things against the God of gods. He will prosper. Look at that. He will show no regard for the gods of his fathers, nor the one desired by women. Nor will show any regard of any god and exalt himself above all. Look at that. Look, instead of these, he will honor a god of fortresses, buildings, cities. A god of his fathers did not acknowledge. He will honor with gold, silver, precious stones, and costly things. Money. He will attack strong fortresses, and with the help of a foreign god, he will greatly honor those who acknowledge him. Acknowledge what he acknowledges. Believes what he believes, goes after what he goes after, and delights in what he delights in. Look at that. He'll give authority over many. It will parcel out a land for a price. Look at that. Look at this in 12. Then go your way, Daniel, for words are closed up and sealed until the time of the end. That's why people can't understand. Isaiah said it too. It's like a sealed up scroll. When people read it, they say, I don't understand this. Read this for us, because they don't have discernment. They don't have interpretation. If they had the Spirit, they would understand it. They would see it. Look at here. Many will be purified, made spotless and refined, but the wicked will act wickedly and none will understand. Why don't they understand? They're like, I do understand. No, you don't. I hate to break it to many of you. You don't. but the wise will understand. It's not those that just profess to be wise. It's those that feel like they need God every day. They know they need him. They know they need a Savior. Look at this. But here's what's blessing. Happy are those who keep waiting. You go your way to the end. You'll rest, and in the end of your days, you'll rise and receive your portion. Now look at that. But he says that he says to seal this, close up these words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many will run back and forth. Knowledge will increase. Why? They'll run back, running country to country. They'll run church to church. YouTube video, YouTube video. Truther page to truther page. Social media page to social media page. They're always running around. They're always bouncing around. He said knowledge will increase. It's knowledge of the end days. It's knowledge of his word. But it's not the true word of God. They cannot see the writing on the wall. And it's still a sealed up scroll because they can't interpret it. Like I do. What, your pastor said it? He read you a doctrine in theology based on several verses. They said this is what it means. The reason you can't understand, it seems like everybody else understands it, is because they're following just like you. Now look at here. Now look at here. This is going to shake you to the core. Let's go to Matthew. Wow. This is hard. This is heavy. This is heavy. Look at here. Matthew 8. When the centurion, he believed so much that God or Yeshua, Jesus, could sit there and heal without him even having to go to his home. And this is a man with great authority. He could tell people, go here, go do this, go do that, and they listen. A man so humble. He did not take pride in his wisdom or his ways or his power, his authority. He said, I believe you can do this. He says, I tell you, I have not found in Israel such great faith. He says, moreover, this is used for anti-Semitic. This is not what it means. Listen, I've read this of many, and they don't understand this either. But God, what? How? Look, I tell you that many will come from the east and the west, and they will recline at the table of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the sons of the kingdom will be driven out into the outer darkness, in the place where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Do you see that? Many are going to come from the east and the west and recline. Believe to know Jesus. Believe to know the word. Believe to know Torah. Believe to know his commandments. Believe to know his laws. Believe to know the covenants of Jesus Yeshua. Believe to accept it in his heart. Believe to know the grace of God. And guess what? He's going to recline at their table and be casted out of heaven. Be casted out of the kingdom. Weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth. He says his time would come. Matthew 10:17, but be aware of men, for they will hand you over to the courts and flog you in the synagogues. You will be brought before governors and kings because of me, as a witness to them and to the Gentiles. But when you hand you over, do not worry about what you should say, for it will be given to you in an hour that you should say. For it is not you speaking, but the Spirit and the Father speaking through you. Brother will betray death, and father his child, children will rise against their parents and have them put to death. You'll be hated because of my name. He says that your mothers, your fathers, your brothers, your sisters, your friends will rise against you. But the one who endures until the end will be saved. Whenever they persecute you in one city, flee to the next. Why do you think he says you will not finish going through the cities of Israel before the Son of Man comes? Because you're going to still be doing the work of God until he comes. You better be working that field. and not work in your own field at a foreign nation with a pagan god. Look at here. Matthew 24. For nation will rise up against nation, kingdom against kingdom. It's tongues, it's cultures. And there will be famines and earthquakes in various places going on, guys. But all these things are only the beginning of birth pains. Then they'll hand you over and persecute you and kill you. This happened in the first century. He's coming back right now. And this is how you know it's the time of his coming. You'll be hated by the nations because of my name. Why don't they hate the false churches speaking Jesus? Because it's not the truth. It's the synagogue of Satan, guys. Claiming to be Jews, but they're not. Claiming to be spiritual Jews, but they're not. You'll be hated by the nations because of my name, and then many will fall away and will betray one another and hate one another. What do you think is going on? If this hasn't happened to you yet, it's going to. It's going to keep happening. If it's not, then it's because you're seeking protection from a foreign god. You find protection in your church. Why aren't you being persecuted? Many false prophets will arise and lead astray. Many astray because lawlessness will multiply. The love of many will grow cold. Why? Because lawlessness in people's hearts, instead of being submissive and loving to one another, instead of saying, this is God, your way is right, and humbling themselves before a holy God, they fight against each other. They hate one another. Because the lawlessness is in their hearts and in their minds. It will multiply, and the love of many will grow cold. That's why you'll see lawlessness even being spoken from their lips to other people. It'll be slander. It'll be gossip. It'll be hatred. It'll be maliciousness. It'll be envy. It'll be secretive. It'll be going amongst and it's talking amongst each other in secret. It'll be sexual morality. It'll be love of money. It'll be hatred of what is good and coexisting with what is wrong. And submitting to what is wrong. Right, and standing firm. You're uprooting yourself and going to another way. This good news of the kingdom shall be proclaimed. The kingdom is being proclaimed right now. And the whole world is a testimony to all the nations, and the end will come. And there's an abomination of desolation that's spoken of through Daniel the prophet. Yes, happened 70 AD, but it's happening in people's spiritual temple right now. A failure to separate clean from unclean, a failure to die to yourself. And I'm here to tell you, I warned about this long ago over the years. If you don't get rid of your emotions, your feelings, these things that are captivating you, the things in your past, these things are going to be resurrected. The dead bones are going to be unburied. As if rain comes down, it's going to unearth it that you once dug in the ground. It's going to be revealed, and it's you're going to have to face it, or you're going to follow another god. You die to yourself, or you go follow another god. That's what he's saying. What do you think he says? You must not go back to your house. When the destruction comes, you pray that it doesn't happen in Shabbat or winter. It happened in 70 AD on Shabbat and in the winter. But I'm going to tell you something. It's going to happen again. Do I know if it's going to be winter? I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be on Shabbat. I don't know. But it's going to be a time when everyone's at peace, 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 saying peace, peace, peace. He says, many false messiahs will arise, showing great signs and wonders and lead to many astray. If possible, even the chosen. You're going to see in the future, guys, you're going to see people going out healing people. You're going to see people walking. You might see the paralyzed walk. You may see the blind seeing. These are signs and wonders. I'm telling you, many are going to be led astray to go follow what they're following. But guess what? They're going to follow in the agendas that's going on the news right now. They're going to be going in those same agendas, and people are going to be led astray and follow in it. I'm telling you, it's going to be millions. It's going to be millions and millions and millions of people following in this, and not many are going to endure. I'm telling you, you want to make sure that you are there. You stand fast. There's 1 to 7 churches in Revelation. Which one are you? I'm not that one. Check again. I'm not that. Check again. When you keep saying that's not me, check again. But don't buts. Check again. Every day. Yesterday's portion ain't enough for today. Don't say I'm good. Vultures gather, the dead body will lay. And that's where the vultures are gathering. Unclean are gathering where the dead lay. John 16:2. A time will come. He said, I spoke these things to you so to keep you from stumbling. What you have heard from the beginning. What you've been. It has been with him from the beginning. What was the beginnings, guys? They will throw you out of synagogues. Yes, they will throw you out of churches. Yes, an hour is coming when whoever kills you think they're offering a service to God. That's why the churches. It was the churches, guys. It was the churches. It was the Gentiles, it was the worlds. The people following the false gods, the foreign gods. It was those in the churches that crucified Yeshua Jesus, and they wanted to free Barabbas. What do you think they're going to do today? Free the sinner. Free the sinner. Free the one that is guilty, but persecute the one that isn't guilty. Because they say to you, they'll hate you because of my name. People say, oh yeah, they're going to hate you because of Jesus' name. Go speak Jesus. Nobody's going to hate you. It's clear. It's a true word of his name. It's a true word. You speak the whole word with the power and you obey it. You will see how much people will hate you. Because you will not compromise. You will not be swayed. You will not veer left or right. Just like those cattle, just like those going through the Red Sea, the Israelites did not veer left or right. Though, just like the cattle did not veer left or right, he went straight to Beth Shemesh with the Ark of the Covenant. Ark of the Covenant, is it in you? Is it in you? Is the Spirit and commandments that house within it in you? What happened to 70 people out of the 50,000 that looked inside the ark? They died. They died in 1 Samuel. What do you think that means? He's showing what will happen because those people did not want God's ways. Those that didn't want to forsake the foreign gods, the foreign ways. They didn't want to get rid of their love, of worried of what their family's going to think, what their friends are going to think, what others are going to think. They love their family, their health, their wealth, their fame, their success, their prosperity. You say, but no, God says, in fact, if you love your mother, your brother, your sister, your wife, your husband more than me, you're not worthy to be my disciple. Why? Because you are more afraid of what they're going to think for speaking the true word of God, and you're already submitting down to this false way. So you cannot be this disciple unless you're not worried of what they're going to think. You follow God. Nobody else. You cannot give up your wealth, your fame, your success, your prosperity, caring about your social status. Social status. You always want peace. You always want your protection. You always want power. You always want blessing. Individual blessing or your nation's blessings. You want the blessings that the foreign nations are getting, the others. What you see all over. What others are getting. Envious, jealous. That's why you're falling. Why do you think the feminist movement is rising up? It's a hatred towards men. It's slanderous. It's gossip. It's hateful for what is good. Because they want power. They want control. They want the blessings. They want the fame. They want the success. They want the social status. They want the wealth. They want people to follow what they have. That's why people are seduced by them. That's why I said you tolerate this woman Jezebel. One thing against you. Be careful of those women with the glancing looks. Or those men that are leading you to have lustful thoughts that emotionally capture you. Watch out. And people, you can't love your resources. You can't love materialism. So if you don't know what that means, a resource of materialism, so I can speak it plainly. Everything that you're storing in your storage units, your garage, your house, your basement, in your cars, your bank accounts, your 401ks, your investment portfolios, your clothes, your closets. Yeah. Your pride, your ambition, your wealth, your success, and relationships. Now look at here. I'm almost done, guys. I'm almost done. Now, I'm going to tell you something here. He says right here, 2 Timothy 4:4. Here, I'll go back. Be ready when it is convenient or inconvenient. Confront, rebuke, and encourage with complete patience and instruction. What do you think instruction is? The Torah, the law of God. For the time will come when they will not put up with sound instruction, but they'll pile up for themselves teachers in keeping with their own desires. To have tickling their ears tickled, scratched, and they will turn away from hearing the truth and wander off the myths. Now, 2 Thessalonians 2. I'm going to reveal this to you even more. You say, who's the Antichrist? I'm revealing it to you. He opposes and exalts himself above every so-called God or object or worship. That's Daniel right there. Gold, silver, resources, money, buildings. It just said, as I just read it earlier, he opposes and exalts himself over every so-called God or object. God or object, any religion, any object that you like, any object you can see or touch. People even make people gods. I think people are bowing down to people's feet. There's people worshiping celebrities, they're gods, just like in Egypt. Let no one deceive you in any way. For the day will not come unless rebellion comes first and the man of lawlessness is revealed. He's being revealed right now. And if you're having a hard time understanding what I'm saying, danger. Why are you so proud? Why are you so haughty? Why do you think you have so much knowledge? What good are you? What good am I? Why do you take so much pride in you, what you have gained or what you have worked to toil for? You think you did it yourself? You think all this knowledge you have received is you? I'm speaking to somebody right now. You are not that wise, and you're not that smart. Humble yourself before you destroy yourself. So I'm telling you, you keep going down that path, you will be destroyed. And you will never be at peace. The one destined to be destroyed. He opposes and exalts himself over every so-called God or object of worship. So he sits in the temple of God, proclaiming himself that he's God. People think it's a physical temple. Guys, it's spiritually. You're in the temple of God. What do you think the Ark of the Covenant represented? The Spirit, his laws. Is it in you? Is the seal there? Say, but the mark of the beast. Guys, where's the mark of God? Is that physical too? I only know one that can read it. Don't you remember when I was with you, I was telling you these things, and you know the one who holds him back for his revealed in his own time, for the mystery, the lawlessness is at work, already operating, or there is one who's holding him back just now until it's taken out of the way. Remember I said the churches would be the first ones to accept him? It's happening. because they'll be programmed to walk in that way. This calls for endurance of the saints, Revelation 14:12, 12:17. Those who keep the commandments of God and the faith in Yeshua Jesus. Is that you? You feeling weary, growing tired? You growing weak? You feel like you can't keep his commandments anymore, his covenants? You feel like you just can't do this anymore? You can't endure anymore? Maybe you're doing it by your own understanding. Maybe you're trying to do it by your own power. Maybe you're growing legalistic. Trying to grow power, you're growing prideful in your own abilities. Is it you think it's you doing it or the grace of God? But the reason you don't have the grace of God is because you're still not dying. Keep holding on to yourself. You will never be free. You got to make that choice. For the mystery of lawlessness is already operating. It's already operating. It's happened in the first century. Only there's one who holds back until it was taken out of the way. The lawless one will be revealed. The Lord Yeshua will slay him with his breath of his mouth and wipe out his appearance of his coming. It's about to come. The coming of the lawless one is connected with the activity. Look at activities of Satan with all power, signs, and false wonders. Do you see this? All power. What do you think the people were following the other gods for? They wanted a power. They wanted signs and wonders. Guess what? It will be given. He said, he will prophesy in his name, prophesy, cast out demons in his name, heal the sick in his name. You're going to see people see. The blind are going to see. You're going to see the paralyzed walk. And you're going to follow after his people because you think that's the Spirit of God and the grace of God and the power of God. But you're not going to hear them tell you to obey the laws of God and have faith in Yeshua Jesus. In fact, they're not even going to teach you this. They're going to sort of read it and twist it. That's it. Many other people are going to see what think they're knowing what I'm saying right now. They're like, yeah, they are teaching it. No, they're not. If you actually read and you actually were hungry for God's heart, and rather than gaining knowledge, you would see it. And with every kind of wicked deception towards those who are perishing. There's many during this time. Everything that's been going on in the recent news has turned away from me. Because I just provoked something in their emotions. Their feelings, something from their past. If you think I'm just speaking to one person, I'm speaking to many right now. If I was speaking to one person, I'd call you out. Look at this. They perish because they did not accept the love of the truth so as to be saved. For this reason, God sends them a delusional force to lead them to believe what is false so that they may be judged. All those who did not believe in the truth but delighted in wickedness. Now he says, don't mumble and complain and fight against one another so that you will not be judged. Don't fight against the truth. It's so simple. If you know it's the truth, you know it's already sin. Stop trying to fight to prove this is right or this is wrong. This is right, this is wrong. It's right here. These times are coming. I've spoken so many prophecies in the past, guys. Every single one is coming to play. People are acknowledging that today. They're like, this is coming. So why don't so many of you listen? Why are some turning away? Don't have faith in me, have faith in him, the only one that can save you. Cry out in desperation, desperate, fully submissive, surrender to him. Know what reverence and submissiveness is to him. I love you guys. I'll continue to pray. God bless you and shalom to each one who receives this. Have a blessed night or day. Shalom.